What's up, ladies and gents, Noli here and welcome to another Payday 2 video. Today we're going to be taking a good look at Bonnie. It's day 3 of the Hype Train event. If you guys have not been keeping up with that, the first 2 days were awesome. I myself was busy performing in Hamlet, but that is done now. So day 1 added some new single day missions such as day 1 of Rats and Train Heist as standalones, and then day 2 added side jobs, which are kind of like additional in-game objectives that you can do to get yourself some new special loot. For example, the weekly challenge is the Tabula Rasa achievement. You get that done, you get the Dillinger Death Mask, which is otherwise a rare Infamous item. So just all great steps in the right direction. They're all entirely free to the community, thanks to you guys buying so many Overkill products over the period we were given. Moving on from that, we have day 3. We get Bonnie, and Bonnie's been divisive so far up to her release. People are disgusted or they're in love. Bonnie is, of course, a Scottish character with some great voice lines, may I say. She's certainly been one of the more enjoyable characters to play as of late. Now, I talked about this with Jacket. Jacket's great to play. He's got a new element to him in that he speaks through his tape recorder messages, and his links to the Hotline Miami series interest me. But Bonnie, she's got so much character, and she looks funny to play with as well. She's certainly on the heavy set side, and she's no beauty, but she's the first tattooed heister, I believe, and she does fit the style, and her voice is excellent, and she's got some really well recorded and well thought up voice lines, so that's one big good tick in her box. Then we get the primary weapon, which is probably the main focus of this one, even more than the perk deck this time. It's the Jocelyn OU 12 gauge shotgun, and it is fantastic. Some people have been going out on a limb and saying best primary weapon, certainly best primary shotgun, and I think my opinion may hold there. Best primary shotgun. It's very similar to the Mosconi in how it functions, but in many ways it's better. It seems to have less of a damage drop off over range. You'll see some crazy long range clips in this, and its damage is much higher, and it overall just has better accuracy and stability. It's got the same access to great mods. It can't get as high a concealment, but it can get very high. It even has a single mod that just adds 8 more bullets overall ammo-wise, which is just, you know, a plus. Very few weapons have attachments that are just simple additional ammo capacity, just stuff that straight up makes the weapon better. So no complaints there. Now, its total ammo is also pretty good. It functions perfectly fine. Rate of fire is fine. You can fire 2 shots very quickly, one after another. As I've already said, damage is much higher. It's got 138 base, which isn't too bad. With shotgun skills, you're looking at another 56. Moving on up, you can actually get over 200, which is huge because certain enemies have the 200 health pool. If you can surpass that for a one-shot body shot, you've made it, basically. However, I'm going to put a bit of discussion into that a little later on. I'm going to first of all focus on whether maybe you don't need the damage skill. Do you need that additional 56 damage? Well, certainly it helps with damage multipliers going into the headshots on cloakers, on tasers, on bulldozers. So that will definitely help there. But against most of the standard enemies, no, you actually don't, which is interesting. It's a shotgun that makes use of lots of the shotgun skills. I particularly find it's useful with the tightened hip fire, just because I'm inclined to hip fire with this weapon. But it doesn't necessarily require the additional damage. Or what you could do, and what I have done recently, is get some modifications on it, get the buckshot on it, so it does that additional damage. It gets 21 more damage through the modification, and suddenly you got over 200. Like I said, that surpassed the 200 mark, and suddenly you're one-shotting most enemies, and that's crazy good. Accuracy and stability. Need to slow down, I'm so excited about this shotgun. They're both in really good places, and I've already mentioned concealment can be put up reasonably high, but that is at a loss of accuracy and stability, very much the same way with the Mosconi. Otherwise, you're going to find this shotgun is strong in basically every department. However, it's got some sort of facets which you will not see written down. Again, it's the double barrel. It's a hunting shotgun, so it functions well at range. It doesn't, as I've said, drop off too much damage, but it seems like it spreads a lot less naturally than the other shotguns, so it requires more accuracy. You may know that each pellet in Payday deals the same amount of damage essentially, and you just have to hit that one pellet into the multiplier. Therefore, shotguns with better spread, while they don't work as well over range, will have a much tougher time. One of the reasons why the Raven isn't that good, but the Locomotive is incredible. The Jocelyn's kind of in between the two. It doesn't have the same ability, I feel, as the Mosconi, not the Mosconi, The Locomotive, I don't know whether I said the Mosconi before. I did not mean to. The Locomotive is the one that I'm praising very highly. I've always said it's one of the best weapons in the game. It may be the best, especially for the secondary category, which is a huge advantage to it as well, because it lets you have your diverse primary weapons, your snipers, your shotguns if you so choose it, your minigun now, which I also think is pretty good, or your very versatile assault rifles. Keep in mind the Jocelyn goes in your primary slot, so you're definitely losing something in some places for making that choice. You know, you're losing the access to the GL40, for example, a great tool against shields, which I wouldn't recommend with the Jocelyn. I wouldn't recommend you use frag rounds, for example. So it really is a standard killing machine. That's what you're aiming for, and its kills over range are crazy. If you're accurate with this thing, if you're able just to pick those headshots on Death Wish Overkill, very good. It's very, very good. And you know what impresses me? This is free DLC. This is Bonnie. You know, the community may not have been all for her, but now they're certainly all for the update, I imagine, because this tool is not only so much fun to mess around with, even more fun I feel like than the Raven was, for many reasons. But it's just so powerful. And reload is fine. You're going to be able to shoot an awful lot, assuming you're running shotgun skills, which you should be. But as I've already mentioned, this thing is still kind of functional without them. If you want to use it in some sort of stealth build, if things go awry and you don't want to put points into shotgun skills, well, it's actually still an option, which far and away one of the best primaries in the game. It's all going to go down to whether you really value the snipers. Do you really value your tools against bulldozers? Do you feel you can drop your secondary or something like that? Do you think you can go for the RPG? Maybe frag round shotgun, frag round judge, frag round locomotive? Or would you rather use your primary slot for that utility and just bring the locomotive along, because that thing is always going to be strong? Got to be preference based. Right now I'm having so much fun with the Jocelyn, and I think I'm going to need more time to properly review the weapon, but very impressive. I recommend you try this out. The melee weapon is, of course, the bottle. It's funny, it's strong. Against a melee weapon, you're going to see very similar stats on it, but I honestly found this one to be more effective than, for example, the hammer, added, of course, with jackets. So thumbs up again for the melee weapon. Finally, we have the perk deck, which is Gambler, and it's got some interesting concepts to it. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it, because I feel like the conclusion I'm going to come to is basically it can't work within dodge builds because it's not rogue. Is it as good as a lot of the other defensive perk decks for tank builds? No, it's not. You're better just having more health, for example, or better armor. What it is brilliant for support. It's going to allow teammates who choose to run very high ammo usage weapons, it's going to give them a way to maintain their ammo. So it is absolutely the definition of the support perk deck. As such, it does something that other perk decks don't, and so I am a fan of it. Now, a lot of the skills involve ammo pickup, so you see ammo pickup on the floor when you walk over it. For example, every 15 seconds you can get a certain amount of health back, ranging from around about 4 till I believe all the way up to 12 or 14, which can be not too bad. It means that if you're an ammo carrier, ECM, a sentry carrier, you can still maintain your health even within a tank build. So I can see a reason to run that on its own. But then we have the ability to pick up ammo and your teammates get 50% of that ammo. Now that is interesting. That is going to help them to maintain themselves. Now if your teammates are all running shotguns, which are on the whole very ammo efficient, it's not that useful. But if they're running certain assault rifles, I don't know whether this actually works for the minigun. I don't think it does, but it may well. Then you can try and apply this and maintain your teammates as best as you can. It kind of functions around a scout build. Maybe one that is less focused on dodge, but isn't fully heavily armored. So you can run out, grab ammo and get back in as quickly as possible and maintain your team for as long as possible in sort of holdout missions. So it's definitely got some application. It's definitely worth trying out, definitely worth picking up. It sort of fits for me in the very same place that Clover's perk deck did, in that it's perfect for stealth. Well, this one is perfect for the support playstyle, and so I think it is a very worthwhile addition. Finally though, the Jocelyn, I've already talked about it an awful lot. One of its negatives, I've found it, as far as shotguns go, seeing as how I was talking about ammo efficiency, it's not nearly as ammo efficient. You may find yourself sinking points into things like fully loaded, which you might not want to do otherwise, and so it can lose out in those areas. But assuming you're accurate, you're active, and you're picking up ammo, you'll have no problems at all with this. You either have to choose, I believe, to rely on your accuracy and keep your damage where it is for a little bit of extra ammo, a couple more shots you're able to fire in the long run, or go all in, rely entirely on your ability to land those body shots and drop the buckshot on this thing and gets damage over 200, and suddenly you're a monster, even on Death Wish difficulty. That's it for my first impressions of Bonnie. I hope they've been vaguely instructive. I hope you guys who were at the stream enjoyed it earlier, and if you're interested in seeing more of these streams, especially over this big week for Payday, the big March release, please do follow me over on Twitch and subscribe on YouTube just to see all my videos coming out. Hopefully they'll be informative. Hopefully they will also be entertaining. Again, guys, thanks a lot for watching. See you all in the next one.